Now, August the 19th marks the, as we said, World Humanitarian Day, aiming to highlight the efforts of aid workers internationally. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says helping people across the world is becoming a more dangerous and difficult job because of increased conflict, climate change and the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, our UN correspondent Sarah Walton spoke to the chief spokesperson for the UN Humanitarian Aid Agency.
We are seeing conflicts. We are seeing the effects of climate change. We saw the fallout of COVID-19. We see massive displacement around the world. So these crises build up because just because there come a new crisis in the headlines, well, it doesn't mean that the old crisis goes away. It just adds up.
In recent months, we've seen a massive increase in the price of food and fuel around the world. Has that had an effect on both people that you work with and how you're able to operate?
It has had a very direct and dramatic effect. If you spend 60–70% of the income that you have on food, then just a small rise in price of food can really completely knock you off your feet. So that has had a very dramatic impact. And it means that more people are being pushed across the line where they get into life-saving and life-sustaining humanitarian need.
The demand for aid around the world has increased so much in recent years, and yet it's coming at a time when the funding gap for humanitarian aid projects is the biggest we've ever seen. Is that stopping you being able to help people around the world?
It's right that we are seeing the largest funding gap ever. We are asking the largest amount of money we have ever asked. As I speak, almost $49 billion this year only. Halfway through the year, we have raised about 1/3 of that. And it forces us as humanitarian organizations to prioritize. And that is a very, very painful process that sometimes you have to take from the hungry to feed the starving.
Why is that funding down and what are you trying to do to address that?
It's important to understand actually that the total amount of dollars that we get in is actually growing every year. The problem is that the bucket we need to fill is getting bigger. So what we are trying to do is, of course, to mobilize the donor community so that they find more money, they find new money. We try to expand the group of actors in the world, be it member states, private citizens, the private sector, and so on, to chip in